On to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
Let's talk about some difference makers you can get with that money. I mean, the Knicks are obviously going to be linked to two-way players with Tibbs coming in. I mean, if you can't play defense, you're not going to get signed to this team, which immediately rules out someone like, Jordan Clarkson, who I thought would have been an option before the Tibbs signing. But who do you guys think is the best option in free agency for the Knicks with all their needs? Either of you can go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the list. I don't. That's the thing. I mean, when I think of the Knicks, I just like one of the things that first pops up is that we haven't had like a really like actual like functional or like a not functional but like a permanent point guard, like someone who we say, you know what, they can consistently start every night, and I would be super comfortable with them, just being the starting point guard.
What do you mean? You guys had Jarrett Jack.
Honestly.
Okay. Anyway, I would say, I mean, if we're gonna be looking at two-way players, I would say Drew Holiday would be a good.
We're talking free agents right now, Kevin. That's gonna be a trade.
I mean, 2021. Let me see, 2021.
We're talking 2020 free agents, not 2021.
Well, that's the one that comes up when I looked it up.
Drew Holiday is not a free agent, Kevin. I can tell you that much. He has a player option for. He has 1 year left on his contract, and then a player option for the year after that. Some realistic options that I'll bring up for point guard specifically, or for guard specifically, are Fred VanVleet, Joe Harris, bring back Langston Galloway, Goran Dragic could be an option just for a Band-Aid point guard, Wes Iwundu maybe, and then you have two real wild cards with Bogdan Bogdanovic and Malik Beasley, who are both restricted free agents who you're going to have to spend a lot of money on, and the fit is kind of questionable for the Knicks, but still adding any talent to this team I think is a positive. So I start out by asking, do you think offering Fred VanVleet 18 to 22 million annually is a good option?
I think it's a good option, to be honest. I think, but it also depends on who we draft and the Knicks' direction with the draft. I think.
I mean, or you cut out for a sec.
Are you able to hear me? No.
I can hear you now, but couldn't hear you there for a bit.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So for me, my thing was I would go pay Fred VanVleet, assuming we don't draft a point guard. So that's kind of my direction on that.
I mean, my big question is, how much money is too much money? Like, can Fred VanVleet really be a franchise caliber starting point guard? I would question that. I think maybe for the Raptors it works out because they know how to use him so perfectly, but that's exactly what it is. They're using him so perfectly, and I'm not sure the Knicks can ask for that on-off, like, the workload they give him is incredibly, like, now you're going to score, now you're going to pass, now you're going to defend, and it's very specific, and I think the Knicks would just kind of say, go be our second option on offense and score while also getting the ball to RJ and Mitch on a regular basis, and I'm not sure how well he could perform with that increased workload.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, for me on that end, it's like if we can kind of give him a similar contract to what we were giving someone like Marcus Morris or Bobby Portis, if we can give him like a 2-year or 1 year, I don't know if he'll accept a 1-year deal with a player option, but if we can give him like a 2-year deal with like a team option and just give him like a lot of money, I think that would be the best way to kind of test it out and see if he's our future point guard or not. Because I agree. I think he is a system player, and I don't know if Tibbs really has an offensive system to that of Nick Nurse, for example.
Oh, Tibbs is not even close to Nick Nurse in terms of coaching.
Yeah.
I would take anything Tibbs does well, I think Nurse does better. And even the things that Tibbs does badly, Nurse is far and away better.
So what would you? I mean, obviously as a Timberwolves fan, where would you put Tibbs? Like, is he really just a defensive guru and then pretty much
He's
offense?
not even a defensive guru. Like the Wolves were routinely bottom 10 in defensive rating during Tibbs' time there, and it's not like they had horrible, talent on the defensive end, but it was genuinely really bad. And the thing that scared me the most was how much offensive talent that team had, and the fact that they only ended up being middle of the pack. Like that's not a good place to be. The Timberwolves had the talent to be a top 5 offense, and they were 16 in the year they made the playoffs. So I was not a big fan of the Tibbs hiring, but I think it could work out if he's been able to change the way he does rotations, and if RJ can really have a huge workload like Jimmy Butler had with the Wolves in 2013.
And obviously live up to that as well. I think that's a big thing. Yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, I like the fact that with Tibbs that he gets along with the front office. I think that's like a big issue he'd had with the Bulls and obviously the Wolves. I mean, the Wolves, he was the president.
He was the front office, yes.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
think that worked out either. But like, I'm hoping, like, it seems like the Knicks front office is making the decisions on the hiring front with Kenny Payne and Johnny Bryant. So,
Yeah.
so it seems like hopefully it's a good sign that he's changing. And
I think my hope is that Tibbs kind of went a little power crazy, and he was like, "Oh, I need to scout G League guys, and I need to figure out my money, like how much money we're gonna have, and all of that," while at the same time trying to coach the Wolves. And that was a horrible fit because he just kind of got distracted with both. But if he can just focus on being a good coach, maybe you can see some good things. I'm just kind of disillusioned when it comes to Tibbs. Like I don't trust much that he does. But I think there's a few young players you could certainly see improve. And I mean, Tibbs loves his vets. So I think there's a chance you guys bring back Mo Harkless, which isn't the worst move in my opinion, but like there's some options here that I don't think are realistic.